Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is another in the series of Algebra 2 recordings that I'm making for you. This one we are going to be talking about the concept of solving systems of equations. Now, in Algebra 1, one of the last topics, and it's not tested on any of the Algebra 1 tests, so it's not one that they spend just a whole lot of time on, but they always try to introduce the concept of having system of equations. System of equations is when you get two equations with two unknowns. Okay? And there's three different methods of solving it. One method is called substitution, one method is called elimination. Those two methods are very common methods that are talked about in a lot of different places, and you can solve system of equations those ways very easily. But in Algebra 2, we try to introduce you to a third method called the matrix equation. Well, there is a third method that's taught in Algebra 1. It's the intersection of the lines. So you just graph the lines and look for the intersection. So there is the third method. Fourth method is called the matrix equation. What we're doing is a type of math called matrix math. Okay, and no, we're not looking at the movie with the stuff like that. It is a little bit different than that. Okay, this is something that you can do on your calculator. Guess what? We're showing you how to solve these problems on your calculator. It's really easy. But a linear system can be written as a matrix equation because all I'm going to do is I've got two equations and two unknowns. See, I've got 5x, and pointer would help at this point. I've got 5x minus 4y is equal to 8. Well, I'm going to take those and put them into a matrix. See the 5? See the minus 4? See the 8? Okay? 1x, 2y, 6. The coefficients 1, 2, and 6. Very easy to put them into matrices this way. Okay? And you can see that it's not a difficult trick to do, right? You can write a matrix equation just like this. Minus 3x plus 4y equals 5. Notice how it's got the x and the y like this? It's because when you multiply, you take the 3 times the x, and that's going to be equal to the first one here. And the 4 times the y, and that'll be equal, and then you add those two together, and that'll be equal to this one over here. And then you take the 2 times the x plus the negative 1 times the y, and that'll be equal to the bottom one over here, 10. That's the way multiplication is done with matrices, okay? It has to be, however wide this one is, it has to be how tall this one is. So we could actually solve 6 equations and 6 unknowns if we needed to. It gets very much so that we can do anything that we want to do with matrix math, and it becomes very easy to do. So let's write this one as a matrix equation. What we're going to see is there's a 1 in front of the x, there's a 3 in front of the y, and those two are going to add together to give me 13, right? Well, that means I was multiplying times x and y, x and y, and that's going to be equal to 13. Notice I'm putting these brackets around it. That's what's indicating that it is a matrix. Okay? And then over here for the second equation, it was a 2 and a minus 1. They're being multiplied times x and y, and we're getting a negative 9. Okay? So let's go forward just a little bit here. 3 equations, 3 unknowns. Can we write that one as matrix math? Yes, we can. Okay? Negative 1, 5, and 2. Okay, I got the coefficients of the first equation there. I'll get the second equation while I'm here. 1, 2, and wait a second, there's no z. That means it must be a 0. How about the third equation? 4, there is no y, it's a 0, and a minus 3. Well, we had three unknowns there, so it's x, y, and z. See how the zeros now multiply in there, and you can see them, I hope. And this will be equal to negative 5, negative 4, and 10. And you can put the bracket on there. Okay, I got a cough. Sorry, been talking too much today. So writing them as a matrix equation is not a difficult task. Easy enough to do. There's a couple things you need to know about doing matrix math. Okay? So it when you're adding them together, as long as they're the same size, not a problem. When you're multiplying, you've got to make certain that when you've got two on the going across the top, you got two going up and down in the one you're multiplying. Your result will be a 1 by 2 matrix. Okay? A matrix equation is the form AX equals B, where A is the coefficient, X is the variable, and B is the constant. Okay? So, in this particular situation, we've got X and Y's, right? Everyone see how we've got A, we've got X, and we've got B. Those are the three different matrices that we get out of this matrix equation right here. We got the matrix A, we got the matrix X, we got the matrix B. Going forward. So how do we solve them? Well, we can't really divide matrices because that's not something that you learn how to do, and it's just not a valid operation for matrices. So what we do is we talk about taking the inverse of a matrix, okay? We take matrix A to the -1. And when we multiply matrix A to the -1 times A, okay, and then times X, what we'll wind up with is same thing as what we get when we multiply -A times the B constant out here. And what we wind up with is an identity matrix, or X, and we can find the values by looking at this A inverse times B. Now remember, what were A and B? Going back to this one, A was the coefficients in front of all the equations, and the B was the equals to equations. Okay? So it's really not a difficult thing to do. Handy dandy, trusty, nifty calculator. It is not a problem to do. I'm actually going to bring my calculator up on the screen here. Ding, there it is right there. Clear it out, end what it's in. Okay? And we're going to try to do some of these things. If we want to enter a matrix, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the second button, and the word matrix is right here, right below math. So I'm going to push that button, and it brings up this same matrix information just like you see right here, okay, on the screen. If I want to enter a matrix in, all I've got to do is to go over here to edit. So I'm going to move over to edit, and I'm going to press enter because I want to enter a matrix into A. Now the matrix we're entering in is a 2 by 3 matrix. See how it says right here, 2 by 3? It's got 2 rows and 3 columns. Okay? So I'm going to enter for 2, and I'm going to enter for 3, and I'm sitting right there at the first position for the matrix. And this matrix has a 1 in the first position, enter. It's got a 2 in the second position, 2. It's got a 3 in the third position, enter. It's got a 4. It's got a 5. And it's got a 6. So I now have entered every one of them in. Now you go, well, how do I get rid of the matrix on the screen? You press second mode or quit, and it goes away. Okay? So we've entered a matrix in. Let's see what we can do about adding that matrix to another matrix. Okay? So what I want to do is I'm going to push second matrix and press enter, and when I do it like that, it actually shows me what that first matrix is. If I push second matrix and go down to B, and there's nothing in B, I need to enter my second matrix B in there, don't I? Well, what do I have to do to enter that matrix B in? I have to have the matrix to begin with. Well, I need to go back to the other screen there first. Where was it? There it was. I got to get that second matrix in there. So I'm going to go over and enter that second matrix in. So, quit. Thank you. Second matrix. I'm going to go over to edit, and I'm going to go down to B, which is the second matrix. It's a 2 by 3, so 2, enter, 3, enter. And I need to enter the values in. 2, 2, 4, 3, 3, 2, enter. I've got them in there. Second mode. It quit. I'm going to do second matrix. Oop, not math. Stop that. Second matrix A, and I'm going to hit enter just to make certain I've got in there. Second matrix, I'm going to go down to B and make certain I've got it in there. And so it's a 2, 2, 4, 3, 3, 2. Yes. So I'm going to add those two together. Second matrix A, enter, plus second matrix, go down to B, enter. You know what? That didn't look that difficult to do. If I add those together, I get 3, 4, 7, 7, 7, 8. I'm going to move forward a slide here and show you the answer. 3, 4, 7, 7, 7, 8. 3, 4, 7, 7, 7. It looks like I added them correctly by using the calculator. Matrix addition is really easy there. Okay? It's really nothing at all. If you want to save these slides out, it will help you in doing these matrix maths on a calculator. It works the same on a TI-83 and on a TI-84. So the one that is in your doc sharing is one that you can use to download and get a good version of the calculator that you can do this with. Okay? So how do we use it to actually solve a system of equations, Mr. Green? Well, we're going to use the same sort of a process. We're going to enter the equations into the calculator to get what they look like, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press second matrix, and I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to go to A, and I'm going to make it a 2 by 2. Why? Because remember, we're dealing with that coefficients of the equations, two equations, two unknowns. So I need to enter the values into the matrix here for that system of equations. The coefficients are 3 and 5 for the first equation, and 6 and -1 for the second equation. Okay? Second quit. Second matrix. Go over to edit, and it's a 2 by 1. Why do I get 2 by 1? Well, it's 2 rows, 1 column. And the values that go in here are the values that are at the end here, right? 7 and -8. So 7 and -8. 8. Thank you. And hit enter. Now, I've got those values in my calculator. Second quit. I've got them in there as the A and the B, right? So what do? We simply do an operation called an inverse operation. Okay? See right here where it says A inverse times B? That's exactly what I'm going to do. Second, matrix A. I'm going to go pull A in there. I'm going to push inverse. It's this button, the same one as the matrix button. See how it's got the inverse on it? I just put the inverse on it. Times second matrix. And I'm going to go down and select B and hit enter. I'm going to multiply A times the inverse of B, or inverse of A times B. Okay, I got this error on the calculator, and I had to go back and check my matrices because I had a problem in them and I hadn't entered them incorrectly. But I've corrected that now, and I just wanted to show you what I did. Okay, for matrix A, I have got 3, 5, 6, and -1 in there. And then for matrix B, I have got the 7 and -8 in there. Yep, 7, -8. Now when I push the second matrix A inverse times second matrix, and I'm going to go down and put B, it shouldn't give me an error this time, and it should give me that answer, -1, 2. Okay? So the whole process of working with matrices is explained in these 6 steps that are here on the screen. Okay? And the answer to this particular question is -1 and 2. It is an easy way of using your calculator to solve a system of equations. Okay? So, here's the question. Can we solve this system of equations? I'm going to bring up my calculator and run through this again so that you can see it. Okay? Just looking at the system of equations there. I'm going to push second matrix. I'm going to go over to edit. And I'm going to edit the A equation. It's still a 2 by 2 equation. My values are -3, 4, 2, and -1. Check, make sure I got them right. -3, 4, 2, and -1. Yes, I do. Second quit. And then I'm going to go into the matrix again, second matrix, and I'm going to go over to edit. And I'm going to edit the B one. And in the B one, it's a 2 by 1 still, and my answers are 5 and -10. -10. And so I hit enter on that. And I do a second mode to get out of it. Okay? So what am I going to do? I'm going to solve this. I'm going to do second matrix A. I'm going to take the inverse of it times second matrix, pick B, hit enter, and hit enter on that, and I get 7 and -4. That means my values are x equals 7, y equals -4. So I've got -7 and -4. Okay? It's a really not a difficult thing to do using it. Okay? So, once again, here's another equation that we want to solve. Calculator, whip it out. Do not hesitate. Okay? Less of it written down for us this time. So, second, matrix. Going over to edit. I'm going to edit A. 2 by 2 matrix. See my coefficients. 7, 3, 14, enter, -4, enter. There's my 2 by 2 equation. Okay? Second quit. I'm going to do second matrix. I'm going to go over to edit. I'm going to select matrix B. And my matrix B is a 2 by 1 equation. And my values are 11, enter, and 2, enter. And I'm going to do a second quit. I'm going to do the matrix math here a little bit. Matrix A inverse times second matrix. Back up. Wasn't supposed to do that. Delete, delete, delete. Yep, there you go. Second matrix. Go down to B. Hit enter. I've got A inverse times B, and I hit enter, and my answer is, oh my goodness, that's an ugly number. Well, I want to make certain I know what that is. 7, 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7, 1, 4, 3, and let's see if that is actually a fraction that I can work with. It's 5 over 7. Hot dog, I found it as a fraction too. Okay? So there's my answers. I've got x equals 5 over 7 and y equals 2. Where did I get those two values? Right there on that calculator. That first one's 5 over 7. Second one was 2. How did I show any work on this one? I would probably show my work by showing the matrix math that I would be looking at. Okay? Like I'm doing right here. 14, -4, x and y. Making certain I've got these written down so that I don't forget what my variables are. And my values here are 11. Not that. 11 and 2. Okay? So, I've solved several here. Want to see me do a bigger one? Let's do a bigger one just so that we can say that we've done a 3 by 3 matrix. Okay? What would we do? We do second matrix, go over to edit, and we go into A, and this time it's a 3 by 3 matrix. Okay, we're going to enter our values into 3, 1, 3, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1. Second quit, second matrix. Go over to edit, and we're going to go into B, and we need to make this one a 3 by 1, and my values are -1, 1, and -2. Okay, now that I've got those entered into the system, I do a second, not math, that's wrong, second matrix, A inverse times second matrix B, enter, hit enter, and I get values for x, y, and z of x equals 2, -1, and -2, 2, -1, and -2. Doesn't seem like using a calculator makes it that difficult to do. Now, I'm going to point out to you, if you go to the lesson resources here, it's got these reference guide and the problem set pages. Make certain you're doing those problems. The problems are important. There, it's like practicing the work, okay? You can see me work them all day long, but until you actually do them yourself, you're going to not know how it's done. Okay? So, this is a way to solve multiple equations, multiple unknowns, and therefore come up with an easy way of using the calculator to come up with the solution. Okay? So, hopefully I've explained something that you didn't know how to do before, and you've got a good feel for using the calculator as your friend in this situation. Have any questions? Feel free to IM me, send me messages, anything like that, and we will see you next time.